Simone. I am going to be doing my note card presentation on red, white, and bruised. I have 3 acts noted in green, and then as far as the tension note cards, we have yellow as low tension, purple as no tension, blue as medium tension, and red as high tension. In Act 1, we start with low tension because Carl is arguing with his parents about entering into the police academy, whether in New York or Connecticut. And then we end Act 1 where he meets Imani, the woman who talks about her brother's death, about the 4th time he meets her, and she kind of demands him to start the investigation on who shot her brother. And then we start Act 2 with a blue index card because this is when Carl meets Imani's family for the first time. And then we go through yellow and purple because he's wondering whether or not he should actually help her. And he's toying between what his father wants him to do and what he wants to do. And then towards the end of, or the middle of Act 2, we have a blue index cards which indicate that Imani's family actually outs Carl in public. So now the secret investigation is no longer secret. So there's almost high tension there, and he now has to introduce his final partner Jesse to Imani because the family outed them. So the next part of Act 2 starts with Carl's dad disowning him and his mother finally accepting him fully. So that's where the medium tension comes in. And it jumps right to high tension because his dad talks to his commanding officer and gets kind of upset that Carl is doing complete opposite of what his dad wants him to do, or whatever the legacy is. And then we get into another red where the IA cop that they went to turn in the evidence to turns out to be another crooked cop. The end of Act 2, we end with red again because Carl and Jesse become followed by the crooked cops and their minions. And then Imani's dog, in an effort to scare them, is kidnapped and killed by a few of the other crooked cops. In Act 3, we start with red because this tension is continuing to build as he learns that he's being followed and he has to try and evade the tail before he meets Imani at a different park than they originally had planned because he was being followed. And then it oscillates within tension as Imani's family is brought into it again, and we find out that Carl's mom is also involved with the death of her brother. And then we get into a part where now his mother decides to take a stand and leave his father, which creates a medium tension, but then leaves Carl completely depressed and alone. Then we get to another part where Carl and Jesse have to turn over the evidence that they eventually find about the most crooked cop, which is their commanding officer, Jeff, and they set up a sting with the new IA officer, Keisha, who found them at one of the protests. And so they start to set up the sting. So you see the varying levels of tension as it increases once they start setting up the sting. And here's where Carl's life is in danger and threatened by Jeff when Jeff finds out he's wearing a wire. But in the end, they actually find a way to indict Jeff and indict the other crooked cops. And at the end of the movie, we have the least amount of tension and a slight tension as Carl ends up being offered a job by the FBI and his family finally accepts him. So this is an overview of all of my note cards, kind of taking us through the high points and low points of red, white, and bruised. I hope you enjoy it, and I look forward to feedback.